So I'm going to do a quick check on the way I do, and hopefully it's the right way for the safe isolation from AM2S. So we're going to be using KPS TP3000 LED and a relevant proving unit that goes up to the required voltage on a 3-phase board. So we're going to isolate the whole board, we'll isolate a circuit, and then we'll look at isolating the entire setup from the incoming isolator, which I think is the 3 things you've got to do for AM2. So we've got a tester, we've got a proving unit, we've got the 3-phase board we need to do. First thing we've got to do, most important thing that people may forget, is actually check that we're allowed to isolate it. So you'll need to talk to your assessor as if they are the customer and explain that they need to turn the whole board off. So the circuits are going to be down. So if they've got IT or anything going on, they need to be aware of that, so they can put anything in place they need to. We need to check that it's all right. So we're going to ask the assessor, I need to turn the board off so I can get in and work on it. We've got agreement, so we're going to take the load off the board first, turn off all the breakers, turn the board off, and then before we can take the cover off, we need to be able to check that it's dead. So quite often you can't fit a lock off or a lock off and a padlock on, so you're allowed to do this stage with the switch turned off, and then take the cover off and then fit the board. But the first thing I want to do is check on the proving unit that I've got the right voltage shown. So my voltage testers are working, it's showing to 750 volts. Hold it on and it drops off, so I can see the increase in voltage, the decrease in voltage. I know my tester is working correctly. So I can carefully take the board cover off, remembering that the incomer is still live. And I appreciate there's holes in this board and that I haven't got all of the pins in it, but it is just a test bay in my garage working towards practicing for AM2. So carefully take the board cover off, and now I can fit my lock off. And a padlock. So that now can't be re-energized, but before we leave that, we need to make sure that we've got the relevant tag. So we've got the lock off kit, we've got the padlock, we've got the tag with our details on. So if anybody needs to get the circuit board back on and find out what's happening, they've got all the details there. So now we're going to test that the board is dead. So you'll find a lot of places saying it's a 10-point test for 3-phase and a 3-point test for single phase. But a few people are saying recently they're failing because they're not checking the voltage tester with the proving unit before and after testing. So you might want to think of it as a 12-point test for 3-phase and a 5-point test for single phase. So if we just do that again, I just put my test proving unit back down, and we do the first test is going to be back on, just rechecking. So I've got voltage there, I know my voltage tester's working. So 1, then we're going to go safest conductor first, so I always go on to earth, and then I'm going to go to neutral, nothing, earth to line 1, line 2, line 3, nothing, neutral to line 1, line 2, line 3, nothing, line 1, line 3, and then line 1 to line 3. So that's a 10-point test, or 11 including the first proving, and then make a 12-point test by making sure that I've got my voltage tester proving again to make sure that I know that it was working before, during, and is still working at the end of the test, so it's giving me the right results. So let's do that again. So we've got prove the unit, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tests in the board. 12th test would then be proving the unit afterwards. So that's safe isolation and chest testing of a 3-phase board.